Hey everybody, and welcome to Library. My name is Nelson, and in today's video I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Duff McKagan's book called How to Be a Man. So let's get right to it. Now, the reason why I read this book was it was a recommendation from one of my friends. He had asked me one day if I had ever read Duff McKagan's book, How to Be a Man, and I said no, I hadn't. So naturally I asked him how the book was, and he simply said, go read it and let me know how it was. So went on Amazon, ordered the book. A couple days it arrived, opened the box and took the book out, and I set it on my desk. And once I set it on my desk, I forgot about it. And the reason why I forgot about it and I set it on my desk is not too long ago, I had read the book by Slash, and it was more of a memoir about Guns N' Roses. So I wasn't really hooked on that book. So that's one of the reasons why I put this book by Duff McKagan down. A couple weeks later, I came to my desk, sat down, and I just picked it up because I wanted to see, what the few pages were about. And I kid you not, as soon as I started reading it, I could not put the book down for the life of me. The book itself is written in such a very easy to understand manner. And what I mean by that is, Duff is very creative, and when he tells you a story, you don't have to work to put yourself in the story that he's telling you. You kind of relive it through the words that he's writing on the book. And it's no wonder why he's a songwriter and he's a musician. He's very creative, he's very artistic. And one of the reasons why I say that is because each chapter of the book is a sort of reflection of his growth, going from who he was to who he is now. Each chapter is a reflection of his growth at that time. And he does a very good job of giving you, the problems that he was going through at the time and what he did to overcome them. And one of my favorite chapters in the book is chapter 12. And the title of chapter 12 is Convert Darkness into Creativity. In this chapter, he lists martial arts as, one of the biggest influences in him dealing with the struggles that he was facing at the time. Some of the struggles that he was facing was drug addiction, alcoholism, partying too much, and not really being true to himself and to his friends and his family. Now, I can relate to this chapter, not in the sense that I'm a drug addict or I'm an alcoholic, but I myself practice martial arts, and the philosophy behind martial arts really changes your mindset on how you look at problems in life. And once you have that mindset, you're able to deal with any problems that come to you. You're able to deal with any issues that you're faced with. It's not something that you're gonna run away from. It's something that you're gonna face, and you're gonna find a way to overcome it and be successful at the end. And that's one of the things that martial arts teaches you is adversity. When you train martial arts, depending on what kind of martial arts you train, you're always faced with a situation. And in that situation, you find a way to prevail through it and come out on the other side safe and succeed from it. And that's one of the reasons why, I was really into this book. Throughout the book, he lists martial arts and how he deals with jet lag, how he deals with temptations, and, that philosophy that he learned from Benny the Jet, really influences his mindset and getting out of that addiction phase of his life. Darkness shouldn't really be a thing that holds us down. We should see darkness as a stage in which we can be creative and find a way to get out of that stage, because when you're in darkness, you look for that little light, and once you find that little light, you keep walking to it. And once you get closer, the light gets bigger and bigger until you're all the way out into the sunshine, into the light. And that is a big obstacle that a lot of people have problems going through. But I really love the way that Duff illustrates how he went from being in that dark area into being who he is now. And that's not to say that he doesn't face any kind of adversity, but he has the mindset to get through it. As I read through the book, he illustrates and he does his storytelling very well, that I'm able to take what I've learned, look at my life and see if I've had any similar issues, or if I'm facing any similar kinds of adversity, and take whatever I can from the chapter and from his experience and alter the way I go about things, and how what path I may take to maybe get me out of that obstacle, face that adversity, and get through it. In this book, he shares a lot of personal stories of how Guns N' Roses was able to reunite after disbanding for a long time. And a lot of the stories that he shares are quite comical, funny, and he uses them either to prove a point in that chapter of how one of the chapters is be loyal to your friends. And him and Axl Rose were very close friends, and he was very heartbroken when they disbanded and they had not talked for a long time. So reuniting with him allowed him to reconnect with him and have that friendship back. And one of the chapters in the book is being loyal to your friends, and that was a great chapter to read in the book. I'm sure you will like it as well. Don't expect that when you read this book that you're gonna find a lot of juicy secrets about Guns N' Roses back in the heyday of the rock and roll era, because there's not really that much juicy stories in there. I'm sure there's other books out there that share those points or that part of their life, but this one shares a different aspect of him in Guns N' Roses. Now, with that being said, seeing that this channel, my channel on YouTube, is called Library, I would give this book 4 Libros out of 5 Libros. Now, if you don't know what Libros are, Libros is the Spanish word for books. So I would give this book 4 books out of 5 books. And one of the reasons why I would give it 4 out of 5 is because it would have been nice to see some pictures in the book. As you read the book, sometimes people include pictures. This one doesn't have any pictures, and there's one story that Duff tells very well in the book about him going to another state on an airplane with one of the members of Aerosmith, but he really did not want to go because his project for that weekend was to completely sand the deck that's behind his house and restain it and get it ready for the weather that's gonna come. But he ended up going to the concert, coming back, sanding the deck and restaining it. For me, I would have loved to have seen a picture of the finished product, a before and an after, because I think that would have really had more of an impact on the story that he was telling. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Duff, if you ever see this video, I would love to see a picture of the deck after you've sanded it and restained it. I bet it's a beautiful deck behind your house back there. Like I said, this book is a very good read, regardless if you're a male or a female who picks up this book and read it. I guarantee that you're gonna take some value from it. I took a lot of value from reading the book. And like I said, if you don't know who Duff McKagan is or who Guns N' Roses is, I don't know which rock you've been hiding under, but it's time to come crawling out of the rock and go get this book and read about him. You may not be into that whole 80s rock and roll era, but I guarantee you that this book, you'll look at Duff in a different manner. I mean, I do. I know who Guns N' Roses is, and I had my initial opinions about him, but after reading this book, my opinions of him are totally different. He is somebody that I hope our paths cross and we can sit down, have a cup of coffee, and discuss martial arts sometimes. I think that would be great. So there it is. Those are my thoughts on the book. I highly recommend that you get this book to read. I'll put a link down below to Amazon where you can go click and buy the book. It'll get there in a couple days. And don't do what I did. Don't put it on the desk and forget about it. Start reading it and I promise you that after you finish reading the book, you'll have taken some value that you can apply to your life, male or female, and you'll see how it changes your life. Thank you guys for watching my video. Please, if you enjoyed this video, give it the thumbs up. If you have any recommendations for books to read, leave them down below in the comments section. If you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts on this book and if it changed your life, even if you didn't like it. You know, if you thought it was a waste of time, I'd like to know the reasons why you felt that way. So once again, thank you for watching this video. Give it the thumbs up and make sure to hit the subscribe button on my channel. I will be posting another video shortly on another book that I just finished reading. Thank you guys, and we'll talk soon.